The Bible is a living word that reads us as we read it. It's a person, a voice that proves that time is not linear, as one sentence can confirm the past, guide the present, and declare the future. You are here. I am here. He is here. We are here. Right now. In the tomorrow of yesterday and in the yesterday of tomorrow. I thank you for joining today. So we're back. Thank you so much for joining once again. In our last episode, Saul was instructed to completely destroy the Amalekite nation. He was to wipe out men, women, children, livestock, everything. However, Saul had other plans. And rather than obeying what the Lord instructed him to do, he decided instead to keep King Agag, just kind of make him a prisoner of war. And he also allowed the men of his army to keep the best of the livestock. In Saul's heart, he obeyed God. However, he partially obeyed God. He did wipe out everyone and everything else. To partially obey is to disobey. And Samuel confronted Saul about his disobedience. And he let him know, as a result of his disobedience, that the Lord had torn the kingdom away from him and given it to someone else. Afterwards, Samuel offed King Agag. He did what Saul did not do. And then he returned home where he mourned for Saul constantly. In this episode, we pick up with the Lord asking Samuel, how long you gonna sit here snotting and crying over Saul? I've rejected him. Let's move on. Put some olive oil in your horn. Go down to Bethlehem. I need you to find a man named Jesse. One of his sons, I've already made up my mind, is to be anointed as the next king. I imagine Samuel got off his face and he like, uh, hold up. Lord, I'll do whatever it is you ask me to do, but how am I supposed to do that? Because if Saul finds out, he is surely going to unalive me. The Lord told Samuel, take a heifer with you. And when you get to Bethlehem, let the people know that you're there to offer a sacrifice and invite them to be a part of the sacrifice. But make sure that you also invite Jesse and them, and I'll show you which one of his sons to anoint as king. Samuel followed the instructions of the Lord. He grabbed a heifer. He made his way to Bethlehem. And when the old heads saw Samuel enter the town, they like, hold up. We don't want no problems. We good? Samuel was a man of God. He was a prophet with a reputation of what he said coming to pass. And they saw him coming. They didn't know if he was there with bad news. They didn't know if he was there with divine judgment. They didn't know. So they like, hold up. Let's make sure you coming in peace. Samuel let them know, I'm here to offer a sacrifice. Go make sure you get yourself together. Then you can come join me. Samuel made sure to invite Jesse and his sons. So after Samuel did everything it is that he needed to do to make sure that there weren't any suspicions about him being in Bethlehem, I imagine that he had a private meeting with Jesse and his sons because, again, he didn't want word to get back to King Saul that he was anointing someone else to be king. When Samuel laid eyes on Jesse's son, Eliab, he thought to himself, surely this must be the man that the Lord wants me to anoint. Keep in mind that Saul was a good-looking man. It said that he was the most handsome man of all of Israel at the time. It is very possible that on a surface level, Samuel was operating on that standard. But when the Lord recognized Samuel's thoughts, he addressed them and he said, you checking for the wrong thing. Don't worry about his height. Don't worry about what he looks like. He's not the one. Man looks at outer appearance, but I look at the heart. Let that be a word for all of us, okay? I know we like what we like, but in our selection process, I think that it would be wise of us to not be so caught up with outer appearance, not be so caught up with height or good looks or pecs or abs or whatever it is that people are looking for when we are picking our mate. It is important to follow what the Lord modeled and to look not so much at outward appearance, but to look at the heart. One by one, Jesse paraded his sons before Samuel, and one by one, they were each rejected. Nope, nah, not you. 7 sons, and none of them were selected. I imagine Samuel looking around like, I know what I heard the Lord say. He goes to Jesse and he says, none of these were chosen. So you got any other sons? Jesse was like, yeah, I do. I have my youngest boy. He's out in the field tending the sheep. Samuel was like, oh, okay, bring him here. Yeah, none of us are even going to sit down to eat until he comes. They're all waiting around for the youngest to make it. And when Samuel saw David, the Lord spoke to him and said, yes, this is the one. Anoint him. David stood amongst his 7 brothers, 7 men who just stood in front of the man of God with an inkling of hope that they were the next king. All of them were rejected. But David stood amongst them, the youngest of 8 sons, and Samuel anointed him to be the next king of Israel. The Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon David from then on. Samuel completed his mission, went on back home. Meanwhile, the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and he allowed a tormenting spirit to fill Saul with depression and fear and uneasiness and just all manner of toxic thoughts. Now, people struggle with this. How can God allow a tormenting spirit to cause all this despair for Saul? They get on the Lord's case about all the things that are acceptable for the Lord to do or not to do. Never mind any of the things that Saul did. Because Saul was disobedient, he was self serving, he was prideful, he was overly concerned with the people's opinion of him. And when the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, a great level of protection and covering departed also. The tormenting spirit, though it's a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow, was a consequence of Saul's actions. Later in the New Testament, you can find the Lord said, anyone who isn't with me opposes me. Anyone who isn't working with me is actually working against me. Saul in his disobedience proved to actually be in opposition to the Lord. And yet, so many people wrestle with the idea that the Lord would allow a spirit to torment Saul, or that the Lord would send a tormenting spirit. It baffles me how someone can dive into a river and feel some type of way about getting wet. It also baffles me how many people today, both inside and outside of the church, make moves that directly oppose the will of the Lord, the vision of the Lord, the heartbeat of the Lord, the righteousness of the Lord. But somehow the expectation is that the Lord still cover, bless, and protect them. No, let Saul teach us something. Yahweh's way is the way and the only way. Anything outside of Yahweh's way is in opposition to his way. If you're not going with him, you're going against him. That's what he said in Matthew. I pray that none of us will be so arrogant to think that just because God chose someone, that he won't reject them. The same Spirit of the Lord that rests can depart. And we see that with Saul. Saul had an opportunity after the first time he disobeyed the Lord to get his act together, but he didn't get his act together. And now he's being tormented. He lost the kingdom that he was so concerned about doing whatever he could to please people so that he could keep it. He had it torn away from him because the person who gave him the kingdom to begin with, being the Lord, the person who selected him, who chose him, who empowered him, he turned away from. We have to be very, very careful to know where our blessings are coming from and to not forsake the person who blessed us to begin with. The Lord selected Saul. When Saul did not in turn select the Lord back, the Lord then selected someone else. There's always someone else. And if we don't want to step up to the plate to accomplish the mission that God selects us to partner with Him to be a part of, please know and believe that He can and will select someone else who will be able to accomplish the mission while allowing Him to still be a part of the mission and not make the mission be about them. We'll stop there for now, but I look forward to our next episode and we'll talk more about what happens when Saul and David's paths cross. Thank you so much for your love. Thank you for your support. If you have not already, please like, share, subscribe, leave me a comment. I would love to hear from you. Again, thank you so much. And until next time, bye for now.